Welcome to our session today, where we'll be covering what it's like to work at Amazon and the different pathways into tech careers. This year at Amazon in the UK, we've created over 10,000 permanent positions across a wide range of fields, including operations, robotics, fashion, engineering, software development, IT, and marketing. And we've also launched 1,000 new apprenticeships this year, and we have a wide range of programs to get you started on your career in technology, from internships, free training and resources, to bursary programs. So something for everyone. Roles are available for people of all backgrounds and levels of experience. And today we'll hear from a few of people who are actually doing these roles, just so that you can familiarise. So I'm joined by some fantastic panelists, and I'd like to introduce you to Nyake Richards, who is a data analyst apprentice. I'm also joined by Andre Campbell, who's a senior program manager within global sports and entertainment and hospitality at Amazon Web Services, also known as AWS. I'm also joined by Letty Ndlovu, a solutions architect apprentice for AWS, Faith Abol-Lorinwa, who is a territory manager also at AWS, and Kieran Field-Brampton, who is an AWS enterprise deal lead. So thank you to our panelists who've joined us today. And our panelists haven't come from traditional tech backgrounds, so we wanted them to share with you their journey and story of how they got here today. So let's start off. Okay, so I guess the first question I'd like to ask is, what do you do at Amazon? So Nyake, perhaps we can start with you.
Hi, so I'm a data analyst apprentice at Amazon Fashion, and on a day-to-day basis, I work a lot with Excel and SQL, where I use SQL queries and edit them to get various data from our warehouses. And most recently, I used it to create a dashboard to show the status of the business's inventory, for example, how much we have in stock, how much are healthy or not. And I use this to help our stakeholders make more data-driven decisions for the business. And I'm also involved a lot in automation of manual processes within the business.
Awesome, thank you. Faith, would you like to go next?
Hi, everybody. My name is Faith. I work as a territory manager in Dublin. I work under the Irish commercial team. And as a territory manager, I look after the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland territory. And my role essentially is to support businesses to leverage the power of the cloud, of AWS tools, to drive them to achieving skill within their business and achieving their business objective. I also like to say that I'm an advocate for my customers. I like to see that they are leveraging the tools that we have within AWS to unlock business value that can get them from point A to point B. That's me.
Awesome, thank you, Faith. Andre, you're up next.
Sure, so hi everyone, my name's Andre. I'm a senior program manager of the global sports and entertainment hospitality team. What that means is that for the Europe, Middle East, and Africa, I put on F1 and Ferrari events, and I'm responsible for the planning and execution of those for our AWS customers worldwide. And I've been at the company for just under 3 months, and I could say my first month I had to put on an event at the Dutch Grand Prix, which was very exciting.
Can imagine. I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions about that at the end. Letty, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I am a solutions architect apprentice working for AWS public sector, mainly working in central government. So my role is similar to Faith, is helping customers achieve their business outcomes by effectively leveraging AWS tools and resources. And so because I'm quite early on into the apprenticeship, the kind of future goal is to lead things like workshops, lunch and learns, game days, etc., just so our customers get more of a hands-on experience with our AWS services. And I've actually had the chance to shadow and also present portions of like lunch and learns to customers just to see what it'd be like in the future. And yes, all very exciting stuff.
Amazing. And last but not least, Kieran.
Hi everyone, I'm Kiran. I work also as part of AWS in the legal team, and I work on completely transactional deals. My skill set is in negotiating, so I negotiate our customer contracts with some of the people that Letty mentioned, and all of those deals are related to cloud infrastructure, and I draft a contract to reflect what we've agreed with our customers. Some of our customers that you may know that run on AWS are customers like Netflix and potentially Capital One, who you may know. But yeah, that's me.
Awesome, thank you. Some varied backgrounds there, and hopefully, our attendees today will be able to take away a little something from each of you in terms of your experience so far. So why don't we move into some more questions now? So just thinking about what attracted you to tech, Nyake, could you perhaps start with just sharing a little bit about how you got into the field?
Yes, so I went down a traditional route initially of going to university, and I studied biomedical science. But I think after I completed my degree, I realized it wasn't really something I wanted to pursue as a career. So after so I was working actually as a medical lab assistant initially, and during that period, I decided to do a lot of practically binge watch a lot of online courses on data analysis, statistics, like you name it. And after that, probably around a year or so, I built the confidence to actually start looking for opportunities to get a foot in the door in the industry. And that's actually how I came across this role I'm in right now. And I wanted to find a career that provided a space for innovation and creativity, but also continuous professional growth. And I can definitely say I found that.
Amazing. And I think just good and refreshing to hear that sometimes, you might choose another or an alternative path from, what you're studying for your degree. So there are definitely opportunities, for you to change. That was great. Faith, anything that you'd like to add there?
Yeah, just very similarly to I didn't have a tech background, so I'm more a commercial space. My entire family is. So I mean, taking that journey into tech is like, I was the first to make that step. So I think I knew that I wanted to sell. I knew that I had that commercial, knowledge and passion, but I just didn't know what industry to do it in. And, when I was in college, I actually interned in a few industries. I started with the hospitality industry, and it wasn't really for me. So I kind of moved on to doing a few other things. In my final year, there was an internship program in a tech company that I decided to go for. And I think I learned firsthand how technology, can solve the problems of many people. And this, being in tech, you're not in a box. It's absolutely limitless rather. And, there's just so many career opportunities. And I suppose for me, that was, one of the reasons why I decided to go full on into tech.
Awesome. So internship's also a good way to kind of get that experience initially. Thank you. So Nyake and Letty, you're obviously both apprentices at Amazon. What made you decide to do an apprenticeship, and why did you choose Amazon for it? So let's start with you, Letty.
Yeah, sure. So I was actually working on Amazon Alexa before doing my apprenticeship. I have a degree in English language and linguistics, and I still love it, but I just knew I wanted to do something in tech. So whilst working in my previous team, I took advantage of things like machine learning talks and more technical seminars, which I knew absolutely nothing about, but I kind of went because I thought they were interesting. And I also attended things like code clubs that Amazon were doing. And during a mentoring session with one of the managers, they told me that your 5-year plan could be to find what doesn't work for you. And I kind of took that and was like, you know what, there's a 4-year apprenticeship and I can just go for it and, push myself into a tech role that I don't have any experience in. And at the end of the day, if in those 4 years, I'm kind of like, I don't know, I've had that experience and I've spent that time kind of learning and kind of working out what works for me. And it was great because Amazon had all of these kind of things available for me whilst I was already here. So yeah, I just stuck with it. There were so many great people to talk to. And yeah, I just thought it was an opportunity that I couldn't really miss.
Amazing. So just leveraging networks and any kind of clubs or things that you can do to help build your skills.
Yeah.
Fab. Nyake, do you want to go next?
Yep. So for me, it's similar in terms of the fact that I studied an undergraduate degree. At the time, I think I probably knew more of what I didn't want to do than what I did. So finding an apprenticeship that actually allows me to learn and earn at the same time was definitely a bonus. And so at that time, I combined my passion for learning with finding the perfect opportunity to actually get my foot in the door and actually start and literally just be in an environment where I can just absorb as much as possible, because I know the tech industry is always evolving, so there's always something new to learn. So I think that's definitely what attracted me to the apprenticeship and to Amazon specifically, was the fact that it's always evolving and it's always doing something in different areas. And I think that's definitely what gets me excited, in the fact that I know, even though I'm in one career, but my options are open and my options to learn different things are always open as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And could you perhaps share a little bit about what you enjoy most about your role? So, Nyaka, what are the things that you kind of really enjoy in your work?
So it's definitely learning in terms of there's literally always something new to learn. And every new thing I learn, I find that they're always connected. For example, I'm in 2 different projects on on each spectrum of the business. So everything I learn on this side connects with everything I learn on this side. So it allows me to have a more holistic understanding of the business. And for me, I love coding, even though I've only been coding for a year. I think the fact that you're always making mistakes in terms of trying to code. I think every coder knows, that's like the bread and butter. Trying to do trial and error and actually just find out where you went wrong. I think that gives me a sense of achievement when I actually achieve it and complete that. And also the responsibility I've been given in my position. Even though I'm an apprentice, a lot of the times I don't feel like an apprentice. I feel like a data analyst, and I think that's definitely something that I appreciate a lot, especially starting from practically my first data/tech job.
And I would imagine empowering as well, to be able to feel that you can, contribute, even though, as you say, you're very new and early on. So some good advice there. Letty, have you got anything you'd like to add there about what you enjoy most about your role?
Yeah, so my main point was similar to Nyaka's, as in just being able to learn so many different things, both for my role, but also there's a great push to learn just other general things in regards to kind of, going to sessions about different departments that you don't normally kind of think of interacting with, and networking with different people. I absolutely love that. And also just having really supportive teams who want to see you grow and sort of just achieve amazing goals throughout your journey. That's probably one of my favorite things about this role.
Awesome. Okay, so we often get asked this question a lot, and I certainly do at recruitment events. But Kieran, what advice would you give to someone wanting to get into or wanting to get a tech role at Amazon?
So I would suggest that people have a look at the roles that are advertised. I feel like we are always growing, so we have lots of roles that are available, and consider first if you have any of the skills necessary to carry out the role in the first instance. Really consider if any of your previous experience is transferable and can meet any of the requirements on the job description. Another point is to decide if the role sounds like something you would enjoy doing. I think that's really important. You will perform better at a job that you enjoy. I know that I was looking at a role for Amazon for a long time, and I was waiting for the thing that I knew that I would really enjoy, and I've got it. But then in terms of next steps, I would suggest that you really tailor your CV to the role and to the job description, considering any of those transferable skills, linking it back to the job description, because that really demonstrates your ability to do the job. And I think you should really take time to do that last point, because I think that's really key.
I would definitely agree. And I know that some people perhaps haven't had, or maybe sort of like first year, so they might not have had any internship experience. So one thing that I would also suggest is to, list any sort of clubs or societies that you're part of, that could really demonstrate good, leadership, team working, skills that could be applied in the world of work if you don't have direct experience yet. So, just think about, what's going to make me stand out, volunteering opportunities or work that you might have done, charitable work. These are all things that employers look out for. So would make sure that you include those as well. Cool.
Definitely.
Thank you. All right. And then more specifically, any top tips in terms of how to prepare for interviews? So Andre, any advice that you could give there?
Yeah, so first of all, the Amazon leadership principles. I'm sure a lot of people would have heard about those, and they really are the guiding principles for how we do business at Amazon and AWS. So I would recommend really looking at them, seeing the ones that excite you, and crafting career stories and experiences which really address a number of those leadership principles clearly in your preparation. The second thing I would say to focus on is data. We're a data-driven organization, and so quantitative examples are highly valued when you're talking about your career experience. So for example, you managed to increase the attendance of an event by 30%. That's some good data to share. The third thing I would say is in the questions that at the end of your interview, you'll be invited to ask questions about the role. So really thinking about those questions so that you can learn more about the role and what it would be like to operate in that role, and get to know the team. So think intelligently about those. And the last thing I would say is that actually the interviewer wants you to succeed and to give you the best opportunity to represent yourself. So know that we're on your side and we want to hear your story. So enjoy it.
Thank you. Letty, anything to add to that?
Yeah, sure. So I think the STAR method is a really important method to use that can help with the career stories that Andre mentioned. So I would set up sort of like 3 to 5 STAR method examples, try and make them different. And if you have negative ones, always have like a positive twist at the end as to how you got a good outcome from those. And yeah, similar thing of seeing how they can link to the leadership principles to kind of make them more relatable to Amazon. I think a really important one is to make sure you say I instead of we when you're in an interview, because you're the one being interviewed, not a team that you've worked with previously. So just remember that the person talking to you wants to learn more about what you've done and how you kind of achieved an outcome. And the last one I have, kind of similar to the networking thing that I mentioned earlier, is if you're applying from externally, like use LinkedIn, because you'll have the job role and probably like the section that you'll be drawing within Amazon or AWS. If you use LinkedIn to find someone currently doing that job, maybe kind of in the same department or something, and just send them a message, ask them for any tips, what the job's going to be like. That kind of helps you prepare more for your interview, because then you're kind of more aware of what the job is, what things to ask, what to expect from the manager, etc., who's interviewing you.
Absolutely. Very sound advice there. So, Kieran, what skills would you say are important for tech roles?
I think we've touched on a few of them, but firstly, the skills that you have now, and Grace, you mentioned that you can have gained those skills whether you've been studying or in previous roles. Those skills are infinitely transferable, so you don't need to retrain. I think Nyeka is a good example of not necessarily needing to go and do a whole other degree. You've kind of just decided that maybe you want to try something. So just looking at what skills you have at the moment is really important. The ability to work collaboratively with people and to be able to communicate effectively is a really good skill to cultivate. We work across teams all the time, so good communication skills are a really, really important part of your role. I consider that you need to be self-motivated. In tech, we're always innovating, and we work at pace. So you need to be able to demonstrate that you can work autonomously. Yes, we are a big team, but effectively we're doing things independently all the time. And the last point is one that I'm really aware of, is that in a world where there's lots of distractions, you need to be able to focus and really zone in on your work and have attention to detail, because the details are what really matter. Andre mentioned that we're a data-driven business, so attention to detail, I think, is a big skill to cultivate.
Absolutely. Yeah, very, very sound advice there. So if we think about like what excites you about the future of working in tech, so as we know, tech is obviously, it's a hot industry to be in right now, but what about the future? Andre, do you have any thoughts there?
Oh, great. So for me, it's cloud computing. So the way to think about cloud computing is on-demand IT services delivered via the internet. And when we specifically talk about AWS's partnership with F1, AWS is supporting F1 in understanding more about its own wealth of data, transforming their 2022 race car, and also bringing split-second decisions and action that's on the track, and understanding that through F1 Insights. So some really exciting case studies there. And when you look at AWS and the market segments that it touches on, so thinking about infrastructure, data centers, thinking about all of that software, hardware, and then you look at the opportunities to innovate for our customer, it's kind of huge. So that's what really excites me about the future of technology.
Faith, anything that you'd like to add to that?
Yes, and quite similarly to what Andre said, it's AWS launched about 15 years ago, and we've seen the impact across different segments, whether it's a startup or an SMB or an enterprise type customer. We've seen loads of impact within different industries and even in our everyday life. I mean, thinking back that I can actually switch on my TV and watch Netflix so easily. I don't have to go and rent a video. It's just, it's exciting to see how far we've come through the power of cloud computing and AWS tools. I think for me, I'm even more excited for the transformation that's still to come. It's absolutely unimaginable. Sometimes when I just think about it, I just get lost in my thoughts. So it's really exciting, and I want to be, even in my own little way, I want to be a part of that. And I really look forward to, growing in the space where I am and contributing as little as I can to get there. So yeah, I'm excited about the future of tech.
Awesome. Thank you. And are there any myths about working in tech that you can dispel? So anything that you've been pleasantly surprised by, Kieran?
Yes, I think there's lots of myths that I can dispel, and I haven't been here for very long, but one of the things that I see consistently is that you do not need to have a technology degree or background. I think lots of people do think that is the case. I certainly don't. Amazon is a technology business, but we still have all of those roles that a business requires to operate. So, a good employer will give you training. You need to be successful, and Letty's demonstrated that. I think everybody's kind of demonstrated that they've got what they needed once they've been in the role. And another myth that I certainly thought before I joined the tech industry was that there weren't very many Black people in the industry. We are very much present in the industry, and Amazon is making a concerted effort to reach underrepresented groups for talent recruitment. So I'm sure that there'll be even more representation going forwards. And just from my experience, during my interview loop, the most senior lawyer on that call, who was a bar raiser, was a Black woman. And I've been on projects where everybody on the project is Black, and that for me, considering that I've been in my career for at least 10 years, was a first for me. So I very much think that is a myth. So I would encourage anybody who thinks that they may not see themselves here to reconsider.
Mm-hmm. Super important there. Okay, well, We've managed to cover a lot of questions, and hopefully it was super insightful for those of you that have been able to join. Thank you so much, Nyake, Andre, Letty, Faith, and Kieran for participating in today's panel. These Amazonians represent just a fraction of the roles that are available at Amazon. We have roles across our operations network, corporate offices, and Amazon Web Services, as you've heard about today. So whether you're just starting out your career as a graduate or a potential apprentice, or have a few more years experience, please find out more about our roles today at amazon.jobs. We're also going to be hanging out in the breakout session now, just to answer any questions that you might have, and just spend some time just kind of learning about anything that you'd like to put to us. So yeah, we look forward to seeing you. Thank you so much, and yeah, we'll see you soon.